Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Vasudeva, Om Namah Bhagavate Devaya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, let's get ready. Where's that laptop? Okay, I'll get it. No, it's I'll put it on my lap. Welcome, dear devotees. Um, I get to piggyback on Nagari Krishna's audience. All right. So today, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, verse 58. 6:16, 15. Labveha manushim yonim jnana vijnana sambhavam atmanam yona pudyeta na kvachit kshemam apnuyat. Labveha manushim yonim jnana vijnana sambhavam atmanam yona pudyeta na kvachit kshemam apnuyat. Labveha manusim yonim jnana vijnana sambhavam atmanam yona bhudyeta na kvachit kshemam apnuyat. Okay, word for word. Labva, achieving, iha, in this material world, especially in the pious land of Bharatavarsha, India. Manusim, the human. Yonim, species. Jnana, of knowledge through Vedic scriptures. Vijnana, and practical application of that knowledge in life. Sambhavam, wherein there is a possibility. Atmanam, one's real identity. Ya, anyone who. Na, not. Udyata, understands. Na, never. Vachit, at any time. Shemam, success in life. Apnuyat, and obtain. Okay, so translation. A human being can attain perfection in self-realization through the Vedic literature and its practical application. This is possible especially for human beings. This is possible especially for a human being born in India, the land of piety. A man who obtains birth in such a convenient position but does not understand his self is unable to achieve the highest perfection, even if he is exalted to life in the higher planetary systems. Purport. This statement is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 941. Lord Chaitanya says, Bharata Bhumite Haila Manusha Janmayara Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakara. Everyone born in India, especially as a human being, can achieve the supreme success through the Vedic literature and its practical application in life. When one is perfect, he can render a service for the self-realization of the entire human society. This is the best way to perform humanitarian work. Om Gyan Timrandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshu Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shiguru Shiyata Padakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Sakachatan Sagana Ragana Tambitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Jivashakam Pitamscha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. Okay, so thank you for all for attending today's class. Yeah. So in this verse we see um, some uh, some indication of our great fortunate in terms of come those who have come across the Vedic literature. So it's said that it's saying here that one who a human being can attain perfection in life by self-realization through the Vedic literature and its practical application. Um, so yeah, this of course to come in contact is a very fortunate situation in and of itself, as many of us can recall that like Kalasuru Prabhu was mentioning, he'd gone many years without at least knowing about some um, prominent personalities that were propounding Vedic knowledge. Uh, so we can see, yeah, many of us didn't actually have contact with this knowledge um, before, unfortunately. Imagine if we had come in contact with these teachings at an early age. Um, but but nonetheless, yeah. So that is rare in and of itself. Then you have the aspect of it's saying, but then one who practically applies these teachings. So this is this is of course the most important. You know, there are many scholars who have contact with the Vedic literature, even who, you know, their life work is based on the Vedic literature and studying it and, you know, whatever. Some maybe twisting some meaning out of it or um, whatever. Uh, but many of those don't actually practically apply what's being taught. Um, so it's a nice impetus to ourselves, and it's even stated in the Sanskrit vijnana, it's a practical application of that knowledge in life. So it's a good reminder to ourselves that even um, we've come in contact with these teachings, Jai, but uh, how much are we actually gonna take advantage of them? And by taking advantage, I mean, um, yeah, actually following what is said and adopting these things as our worldview. Okay. Right. So another point. So so Prabhupada makes the point in the purport about uh, he quotes this famous CC verse where those who are born in India are like, yeah, Lord Chaitanya is saying, if you're born in India, Like you especially have a responsibility um, to become perfect yourself, and then teach teach these, teach this way of perfection to others. Um, okay. So, yeah. So, um, yeah, very interesting that this is in the Bhagavatam, and in the CC, how Lord Chaitanya is giving this mandate, um, because it's well, anyways, yeah, I'll speak on my realizations of this, um, at the expense of maybe sounding like a, I don't know, like I don't know, Indian lover, yeah. I love Indians. Anyways, it's what's said in the verse. It's what Prabhupada mentions in the purport, so I'm feeling a little more bold to speak about, say what I wanted to say. And that is just that, yeah. It, my first contact with Krishna consciousness, of course, was through Prabhupada's books. I received one of Prabhupada's time bombs. Just found it in someone's car, and someone was giving me a ride, and just, they have a book. So I read it, um, and then I was reading it one day, and someone told me, "Oh, there's actually a temple in town." So my first contact with the temple, you know, besides the book itself, was I was with a friend, and I was like, okay, I'm thinking of going to this temple, um, and let's look at the website. First, we pull up the website, and the first thing you see, like on the homepage, is a video of Tulsi Puja, like literally, like it's like Mangal Arati time, morning program, and you just see like these people just circling circling around this tree, singing, offering it water. Anyway, somehow that didn't scare me. Didn't uh, you know prevent me from going. Uh, and then yeah, I went to the temple for a Sunday program, um, and it was a Bhagavad Gita discussion group around Prabhupada, and it was just 6 or 7 devotees in like a half circle around Srila Prabhupada's murti. And it was so, there was incense going, Prabhupada had a garland on, kind of like the light coming through the window was creating this sense of mystique also. And I remember the speaker was, his name was Balabhadra Bhattacharya. I believe he's still there. Is he still there? Did you meet him? Okay. It's like a legend. Right? But yeah, so he's giving this Bhagavad Gita discussion group, and then he's referring to Prabhupada, saying like, yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that might be, yeah, that might be this. Cool. He had glasses on, and like, yeah, yeah, that's a different one. Oh, nice to remember all these spirits. Um, yeah, so this devotee, he's referring to he's looking at Prabhupada and talking about him, like talking about the position of the guru. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I remember being like scared to look at Prabhupada because I thought he was a person there. And I don't know, I thought if I like made eye contact with the guru, I would get like burnt to ashes or something. Um, Okay, anyways, so then I'm at the temple, it's Sunday feast, and then I just noticed, wow, there's a lot of there is a lot of Indian body people here. Like, yeah, practically, as we know, practically most most of our congregation in North America is people from India. Um, but I remember feeling very loved and welcomed, and the atmosphere was very warm and caring, and people. I think people especially wanted to know, like, what is this? Who is this guy? What is this guy all about? Like, 'cause it's not like such a common occurrence, unfortunately, in our temples to have like a young Westerner there. So I was getting extra inquiries, but I remember I felt like, yeah, I like these people. Um, and I remember they had the neck beat, and then I love the neck beats. I was like, everyone's wearing these cool neck. They kind of look like African, like some African neck wear. So I remember one of the first things I bought, like on my second Sunday or something, I bought some neck beads. Um, and then I sort of moved into the temple, um, and it was literally me, a Prabhupada disciple from Australia, and then practically the rest of the temple was Indian body personalities. So um, definitely, yeah, it was well, the diet was quite interesting, like just like, I mean, their breakfast there is like our Raj Boga here is quite opulent. But I remember just like, yeah, spicy sabji. I love spicy, so that was okay. Um, but uh, but yeah, there I was, like in a temple with like just living with a bunch of persons from India, and uh, but I was totally okay with it. Yeah, they just I just became one of them. They became, friends to me. And I remember even His Holiness Chai Pataka Maharaj visited, and was the first guru that I saw. And he asked me, he's like, "Is it? Don't you don't you feel a little culture shocked here, like living with all these people from India?" And of course, in my own puffed up way, I was like, "Oh no, 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 it's okay," because I had been to uh, like Cambodia and stuff before, so I had some contact with that culture, and half of my family is from Honduras, so you know other cultures uh, weren't necessarily so foreign to me. It wasn't like I was like a white guy from central Pennsylvania, where what was it, 93% of the people in this region here are Caucasian. Um, but yeah, so I felt quite at home. You know, I quite liked that situation. And I guess um, okay, so there's a purport. So the original purport, I want to pull a little from there. The original purport on that verse about from the CC, um, Bharate Bhumite Haila. So in there, Prabhupada talks about how uh, those those who were from those who are born in India, um, yeah, they have the privilege of from their very birth knowing about the knowing that their spirit soul. It's this common knowledge that they're spirit soul, and knowing, and then and most of them follow the four act. No, they don't. They're afraid of the four activities of sinful life: illicit sex, meat, intoxication, and gambling. Um, so it's just these things are just ingrained. It's just part of the culture. It's like, in America, you grow up. Well, there's just everywhere has common things to their culture. Like we have like Saturday morning cartoons and you know Sunday football and um, whatever, whatever. Like taking your dog on a walk. Um, but for them, these social norms for them are like revolve around the Vedic teachings. Um, so it's very interesting. And then yeah, they have names like Kartik. They're given these auspicious names. Um, so we can see, yeah, it's to take birth in that situation is not ordinary. Um, it definitely took some past life credits to warrant such a birth. Um, and yeah, I remember like, and Prabhupada mentions in this report that whenever there's some discussion on the Lord, they flock in the thousands. Um, so yeah, I had the good fortune. I think I've been to India 5 or 6 times now. Like we used to go every year as part of our uh, uh, you know employee benefits, I guess you can say, for being traveling book distributors. Um, so we'd go every year, and yeah, I was always amazed, like for example, Mayapur main temple, Mangalartik time. The place is just it's packed, but not just like ISKCON devotees. Like there's literally a whole line, like a you know 300-foot line, maybe 100-foot line, we'll say, of pilgrims waiting to go into Mangalarti because um, they like make sure they don't have weapons or anything, so they have to get checked by security. And it's 4:30, and you just see this huge line of people waiting for this opportunity to go to Mangalarti. And pilgrims, they'll just come and they'll just like, at least during Gaur Purnima time, they'll literally just like sleep on the like anywhere they can find. They'll just like sleep. They would actually seems to let them they would let them do this in our ISKCON Mayapur temple. It's like, okay, a family comes for pilgrimage, maybe whatever, for whatever reason they don't get a guest house. So they'll just like, yeah, pitch up with their family, you know, mom, dad, family of five, just like s- sleeping there. And but it's not that they're like homeless. It's that they're kind of doing this sacrifice uh, because they're on pilgrimage and like that. And then yeah, they wake up for Mangalarti, stand in this line, just for this opportunity for this auspicious activity. So it's so much there's so much conviction there about like the potency of this practice. Or yeah, then oh God, and then when that ghee lamp starts coming around, my God, hope you got like your a wide stance and like because probably gonna get pushed out of the way. Just like so determined, so determined. Um, like I remember being in Vrindavan one time. There's a Banki Bihari temple, and some I was just taking a walk and was like, okay, there's a temple. I'll go take darshan. So I'm in there, And then I see like, okay, more people are coming, more people are coming. You know, it's not very big. It's like probably about the size of our temple room here. And more people are as more and more people are packing in, I'm thinking like, is my skeletal system about to give like get crushed? Because literally like like you know, I was like starting to turn a certain way to fit the angle of how many people are there. And after a certain point, you know, I couldn't turn anymore. And all I could imagine was like, yeah, my skeletal structures, my rib cage starting to compress. So it's crazy, you know. They were so determined. And then, of course, Banki Bihari Temple is famous because uh, they give a darshan for like 1 second. Like that's what they do. For I think there's a pastime involved with it, but so they'll just open the curtains real quick and then close them. So I go in there, you know, pretty much I just went to the temple, waited like 20 minutes, you know, like whatever, almost got my skeletal structure crushed. And then the darshan was like literally a second. Like you could blink your eyes and miss it. And then people just left. It was like, okay, you know, they felt fulfilled. I was a little confused personally, but it's so much devotion, you know, there. I remember another time, this was I think 10 year, 10 year, I, yeah, s- some like every 5 years they do the uh, Maha Abhishek of the Panchatattva, and so yeah, every 5 years after their installation they do it. So I happened to be there on, you know, one of those years, and so it was the morning. Like you know, we just had Bhagavatam class, and that afternoon was going to be the Abhishek. So, um, so I'm sitting there, you know, on the Panchatattva side of the temple, and that's where the class was. And you know, I'm just sitting there in class, and I noticed like, well, there's a lot of people here in class. Okay, you know, maybe it's a good speaker. Um, and yeah, because there was a lot of people. So then class is over, you know, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shipapa ki jai. I start getting up and I realized like, wait, there's so many people here, I can't even get out. Like, and so I started, and you know, it was quite unusual. And, and I noticed, yeah, like, there's a lot of pilgrims and like that. And then I realized like, oh my God, like all these people are here, like they're here to see the Abhishek. And you know, it's like you know, it was like 4 hours till the Abhishek or something. But they weren't. They wanted their spot, you know. They wanted to secure their spot. And I just wanted to go have breakfast personally. And but I couldn't get out. Like there was just it was completely packed. And so then the temple like administrators came in and they made an announcement like, okay, you know, we're glad you're all eager for the Abhishek, but you know, unfortunately we have to do some decorations. So like, you know, we're gonna need everyone to leave. So then I was like, okay, Jai, thank you very much. Um, um, you know, now I don't have to like crowd surf to get out. Like everyone's gonna leave, right? So I get up to start going. And then but I noticed it's like I was the only one that got up to start going. Like everyone else was just sitting there. Like they were not budging. And and you know they were saying announcements like, "Come on, please, you know, like you know, sorry, we're not like you know, like Jayapataka Swami or Radhanath Swami, like we you know, but please, like we you know, that apparently they were saying they're they didn't feel like they had enough weight to make people leave, but they were just pleading with people like, please, we really have to. And I remember even I stood up. I was like, "Come on, let's go. They're gonna clean the temple." But so just so determined, And then somehow I got out. Um, and then yeah, later in the day, I saw why they were there because it was a huge line to get in, and you know there was barely even any space for them to get for anyone else to get in. But so like that, so much, yeah, so much faith, so much like this verse, the the Sanskrit of this verse, uh, labdheha, to achieve, yeah, they want to achieve this. Lolium, so much lolium, so much greed, uh, to to you know, get get the mercy pretty much. Um, and it's just ingrained, it's just it's ingrained in their culture, this deep desire. Um, but what I think really, what always really affected me was just um, just like the soft-heartedness, and it's like a special, uh, like uh, someone said Pakistan. I don't know. Someone said we should have the heart of a Bengali mother and the what's it like the, the conquering spirit of like a Englishman, like that. So you really, yeah, you really that okay, they're greedy for the mercy and all that, like that. But like, yeah, something about their heart is just there's like some purity there, some purity and like warmth, and it's like very contagious. And uh, I remember we would do when we would do parikrams, because when we were doing parikram in Mayapur, um, Jagannath Puri, and all the locals would like be outside like watching us go by. And so we started doing this game where we would we'd pass by a group of people and we just like raise our hands really quick like Haribo. And then we would have fun with it. We'd be like, because most of the time when you do that just to a random group of people, like they would also just raise their hand Haribo. And you try doing that in the West, like walking around. Even if you say, you know, maybe if you say like "Go Eagles" or something, they'll be like, "Yeah, go Eagles." But yeah, generally it's like it was amazing. Just they're spontaneous. You'd be like "Haribo," and then just this whole group of people like just raise their hands with this big smile on their face, "Haribo." And, so we would joke around like sometimes, yeah, sometimes you'd be on the mental platform and you try, and no one would raise their hands in response. But we always took that as okay, that's just because you're on the mental platform. And, um, but yeah, just that kind of it was very beautiful to see that kind of like spontaneous enthusiasm and joy that they had. Um, and yeah, and then just seeing these, it was amazing. It was quite powerful to see like, okay, I'm from the West, so-called like civilized, modernized progress place. And I'm walking around these like tiny villages where literally these people live in uh they live in like a hut, and they have their cow, and they're like have their fire going to stay warm. but on their faces you could see like, wow, they're so content and like peaceful and happy, and you know, um, and much more so than, you come to the West and you see people in their big houses and nice cars. Um, but that contentment on the faces of these simple, you know, kind of like, I guess you could say, even impoverished villagers, there was like so much more joy there. Mm. So it's yeah, it's quite okay. So yeah, so one Maharaj though, he said that, and he's a Maharaj who studies cosmology, like wrote books on it and stuff. And he said that this Bharite, because the verse is saying, the CC verses saying that those who are from Varsh uh, should spread these teachings. So this Maharaj said that Bharate Bhumi also referred to the earth itself. So in a sense, uh, we can all kind of take, um, even if we're not born in India, we can take it on ourselves that, okay, well, I'm also from Bharat, and I've come in contact with these Vedic teachings. So therefore, yeah, it's my duty to perfect myself, and then spread this to others. And this purity of heart, it's definitely, it's in no way exclusive to those born in India. Like, as we know, Chitta, Dharpana, Marjan, like this process of chanting Hare Krishna, that purifies the heart. And we can see that in senior devotees, how they through their practice and their pure lifestyle have attained this purity of heart. Um, and we were just talking about this in a team meeting. We had a nice pep talk by Surapal Prabhu, who was saying how people are going to be attracted, the way we can preach here at Gita Nagari. We have so many visitors coming through, and if we can exude uh, this culture of like love and warmth and kind of yeah, love. Surapapa was saying love, like we're in the practice of love. So if we can give people this love, they will be attracted to it. They'll be attracted to, oh, what's this place all about? Um, um, like I feel something special when I come here. Um, because I mean, for some, I'm sure for many of us, like definitely myself, it was a big turning point for me was seeing like that, especially these senior devotees, whether whether they were from India or not, they had something special, They were very loving, like very joyful, and that gave me so much conviction that, okay, they have this, so there must be something about this process. Like, yeah, the books, I like the philosophy, I like the food, all that, but what I really want is transformation of heart, and I can see that these people have it. So, yeah, so just so whether you, yeah, wherever you're from, according to this Maharaj, you're also from Bharat Bhumi, um, and you've come in contact with these teachings. We've all come in contact with these teachings, and with that, yeah, we should perfect ourselves, and then uh, try to become pure in heart, so that we can bring people, uh, so we can exude that and then attract people through that. And I think, yeah, going to India, Prabhupada wanted everyone to go to India, and I think, like, I can see those devotees who go, who, like, I'm thinking of some devotees now, they go to India like once a year, like spend half the time in India, half the time here, and they're just like, yeah, they got a little of the Bengali mother thing going on, and it's very like they're preachers, and it's very attractive. So even I remember on one parikrama, one Maharaj, he was mentioning like, yes, you must come to India every year, and then he quoted a story that the devotees were, because Prabhupada was pushing this. And then devotees were saying, Prabhupada, how are we gonna go to India every year? Like it's from a managerial perspective, like it's very hard to arrange for that. And Prabhupada said something to the effect of, well, it's also hard to arrange to get food every day. So in other words, Prabhupada was equating the importance of going to India frequently with the importance of eating. And yeah, when I remember when I would come back from India, I'd be like, you like fly into fly into uh, uh the England airport in England, and you're just like traumatized, like it's like you've been sheltered all this time, and then you just like it's like shocking to see what you see. It's like mini skirts and like drink like intoxication and like I'm actually even one time I'd just been in India for a whole month, so like I'd been like getting that like Indian hospitality and love, and I had an American Airlines trip back, and then the flight attendant, I remember whatever I like asked for some extra milk or something, and he wouldn't give me some extra milk, something I don't remember what I asked for, but and I remember I was like so shocked that like here I had been in a place where everyone was just so nice, so accommodating, and now I'm on, and then like it was quite a contrast because yeah, like now immediately after I'm on this plane with like this American Airlines flight attendant dude, and he's like not giving me some milk, and I just it was such a contrast, and anyways, I remember I made a big fuss. And all the flight attendants hated me the rest of the time. But yeah, I was just shocked. Like it was just the contrast was quite shocking. But yeah, I think ultimately that this is what the world will be attracted to. Is like all of us um, getting that. And how do you get it? Yeah, through pure lifestyle, through the process, through this purifying process. Um, yeah. So okay, I'll stop there. There's a few minutes, left. If anyone has anything, questions or comments, okay, Kaustup was first on the draw.
Can you thank you for speaking with us in your experience speaking culture? Can you talk a little bit on movements this on general being really that the call for the purification of the thinking for the call versus adapting to the call for royalties.
In 1 minute. So the question is, adapt, imbibing so-called Indian cultural practices versus adapting to the adapting to the modern wherever you are. Yeah. Um, I would say, I, I think embedded in, like this verse is saying, embedded in the Indian culture, I guess you could say, it it most closely resembles the Vedic culture. And the Vedic culture is all about purification. So there may be some aspects that, we've adopted that were introduced by like the Muslims or whatever, but seeing as we want to become purified, my my idea is that we should adopt these cultural principles as much as possible. Um, so I like what our guru, His Holiness Devamrita Swami does. In the beginning, to attract people, you do whatever it takes. To get people in the door, whatever you wear, pants, wear whatever. Like even the men, a lot of the men don't have sikas there. At least at one point they did, because it would look weird. It would look kind of strange to people coming in. But I don't know if that's still the case. But once you're dedicated to the practice, you imbibe this culture as much as you can, because it's pure. It's yeah. There's purity enmeshed in that culture. You like that answer? That's really my answer. I wasn't just saying that because I want your blessings or something. Okay. Anyone else? We'll just go until the conch blows. Okay. Okay. Got your approval.
Actually, for class. Yeah, so the quote is courage of an Englishman,
Courage of an Englishman,
heart of an Bengali.
heart of a Bengali mother.
So my question relates to um, the accusation one could level against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahaprabhu is the greatest teacher, and yet it seems like he's making a political statement that uh, those who are born in a specific land and they actually have that material designation, they have this duty. He doesn't single anybody else out, but he singles us out. So, how is this instruction still in line with the spirit of Mahaprabhu, and that is to really teach pure love of God?
Yeah. So, yeah, it might like the statement by Mahaprabhu might seem like a political statement, um, singling out the Indians and but he's the foremost preceptor of love of God. So how is it aligned? Um, what do you think? What's your sutra? Tarkabu raised his hand. Okay. You? Okay.
Has a lot to say.
It's being recorded. It's being recorded, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This extra version. Okay. Bhagavad Gita, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai.
Hare Krishna Tharaka Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, we're going to continue the discussion.
Yes, we
I thought,
know, I personally know you have a lot to say about the land of Bard, so please bless us.
well, last time I went on for, I don't know, more than 45 minutes. I don't think I should do that. Um, I have to try to contain myself. I just, I couldn't hear any of the discussion going on other than what Dr. Kramer was saying, but um, I really appreciate his comments. It's always delightful to hear devotees' appreciations of India, the temples, the culture, the vestiges of Vedic culture in India, which still remain quite strong in many places, especially in rural India and in southern India, where the Mughal influence was much less than in northern India. Um, but as far as the culture, um, I think Dasha Prema was suggesting that he was appreciating the culture and attributing the qualities of the people to the culture. I would say that the it is not so much the culture that fosters the type of consciousness that you see in the people there, particularly the Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada explained it a little differently. He attributed it to um, primarily two things. One is that India itself, Bharta Bhumi, is Punya Bhumi, that and as was suggested by uh, the verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita quoted by Srila Prabhupada, um, that Bharata Bhumite Manushya Janma Hailadar. So that the land of India is special. It's a special place. It's not an ordinary place. And those who take birth there are also special. It's not that they become special because of the culture that is predominant there necessarily, and the culture has degraded substantially, but the land itself is sacred. And so two things with um, reference to the land. One is that um, being present in Punya Bhumi itself is purifying. And the other thing is that simply to take birth there, an ordinary living entity does not take birth there. It's a special birth. It's a special place. In order to take birth there, you must already have a significant stock of pious credits. You have already some credits as a result of some significant religious practice. You've already made some progress in spiritual life, and therefore you get the chance to take birth in Bharata Bhumi. So the people there are special, and though sometimes they are covered, but Srila Prabhupada would say that Krishna consciousness, if you listen to his lectures, you'll often hear him speak about this, that the Indians, um, and he would especially mention this in connection with this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it makes reference to those who have taken birth in Bharata Bhumi. So he would explain that that these people, the native Indians, have Krishna consciousness in their blood, which is another way of saying that individuals who take birth there have some already inherently some special qualities that entitle them to take birth there. I'll give you an example. There is Srila Prabhupada gave a lecture in Bombay in 1974. He was speaking on Bhagavad Gita, but he in the course of his lecture he quoted that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bharata Bhumite Manusya Janma Haila Yar. He says, this is service, especially it is ordered to the Indians, the inhabitants of the Bharatavarsha, because in Bharatavarsha it is easier to become Krishna conscious, because by nature, because they have taken birth in this land of Bharatavarsha, in the blood there is Krishna consciousness. But unfortunately, the leaders are inducing them to forget Krishna. This is the misfortune of present-day Bharatavarsha. You go to the village, and if there is Bhagavat Pata, hundreds and thousands of people will gather immediately, not only in the village, in the town. When we held Krishna festival in Bombay, Calcutta, 20,000, 30,000 people come. By nature, we cannot expect this big assembly in other countries. That is my experience. But India, because it is Bharatavarsha, it is very easy. So that's typical of the way that Srila Prabhupada would speak of the special quality of India and the people there. What else did I want to say? Yeah, the Mughal invasion of India had a profound effect on the culture and the people. A large portion of the population was converted to Islam, and the British introduced a tremendous element of materialism and industrialization. They exploited India to the max, and they divided India into initially East and West Pakistan, and now we have Pakistan and West Bengal, or excuse me, Bangladesh. But and you know, those people now are predominantly Muslim, but originally they were all Hindus. I use the term Hindu loosely because there really is no term Hindu in Vedic culture. It's a Muslim term, and it's a general term that refers to everyone that lives on the other side of the Indus River. That's all of India, and in India there are actually hundreds of different religions and uh, also many different languages. It was at one time many different individual kingdoms unified like an empire. But anyway, so originally you did not have Muslims. It was entirely Hindu, which included Devi worshippers and Shaivites and Vaishnavas and Jains and Buddhists and on and on. But the invasion of India did not it did not penetrate deeply into India, so the southern portion of India remained very pure. So even to this day, you have far fewer Muslims there, and you don't have temples that were destroyed or damaged. The temples remain intact even after many thousands of years. Spectacular temples, incredible temples in southern India, these Dravidian style temples, very, very tall gopuram. everything solid granite, carved from granite, stones so large that no one to this day can figure out how they transported those stones. Massive, massive solid granite stones that, as far as anyone knows, there was no mechanical means to transport them and to assemble them into these colossal structures. Um, um, some of these temples are, 15, 20 stories high. The gopurams, everything solid granite and carved with incredible detail. How do carving granite is it's quite difficult. It's one of the, very hard stones, extremely difficult to carve or to cut. And in most cases, the stone came from hundreds of miles away. So how did they do that? Some say it was all done by mantra. But anyway, so if you haven't had the experience of traveling in South India, it's should make a plan to do that at some point or other. Visit some of the big temples in South India and experience what life is like there. It's the level of Krishna consciousness in South India relative to other portions of India, it's quite different. Um, in South India, people are predominantly worshippers of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is everywhere. There are Vishnu temples everywhere. Um, every billboard has got Vishnu and different avatars. Um, Everyone is extremely Vishnu conscious. And some of these places, it's said that if you have the vision you see, you'll see that all the residents actually have four arms. But you, my experience at least is that you are unable to forget Lord Vishnu for a moment because the atmosphere is thick, it's heavy with Vishnu consciousness. It's incredible. Um, Practically, it's in the ether. The sound, the subtle sound vibration is saturated with Vishnu. It's amazing, amazing experience. Very Pukka Brahmins, extraordinary devotees, amazing Vaishnavas. You'll still see in South India there are Gurukulas and uh, people have been trained in pure Krishna consciousness for generations from childhood. Um, um, Pukka Vaishnavas like you will not see anywhere else. They are really, really polished, and they they know philosophy really well. They know Shastra really, really well. They've been trained from the age of 5. They know everything forward and backwards. They are amazing, amazing people. Um, and it is possible to travel. My experience was granted, I was a brahmachari, so I was in saffron, and there is special regard for anyone who's in saffron. But you can travel anywhere in South India, particularly that in the holy dhams, Vrindavan and um, Mayapur. Um, there also, of course, there is extraordinary Krishna consciousness and wonderful Vaishnavas. But in South India, every place is just amazing, and you can travel anywhere with absolutely nothing, and people will constantly invite you for meals and supply whatever you require. I traveled by bullock cart all over South India, um, and everywhere I went, soon as I would arrive in a town or a village, the head of the village or the mayor of the town would come out to greet us. All the people stop whatever they were doing. Families and rice paddies would immediately come running to see what was going on. and we would get an extraordinary reception, like some kind of celebrities. It was amazing. Huge crowds of people. We were distributing uh, uh, Srila Prabhupada's uh, Gita, which is a poetic rendition of Bhagavad Gita, translated into various local languages, and people would stop at nothing to get a copy of that. They were desperate to get a copy of that book. I've never seen, I mean, throngs, huge crowds of people practically climbing over one another to get a copy of the book. But they would feed and water our oxen and supply all of our necessities. First, we would be received by all the biggest people. Um, the leaders would all invite us to their homes for meals, and then gradually the less significant personalities would also get their turn. Um, they regarded it as a great honor to have an opportunity to render any kind of service to a Vaishnava. Um, so that's the countryside. If you go outside the cities, materialism has caught hold, but especially under the influence of the government, which encouraged material development. But you go outside the cities and in the countryside, people are living exactly as they have been living for thousands of years. Nothing has changed. Everything's the same. Same mud and cow dung huts with a thatched roof, same rice paddies, same ox carts for transportation, and cows for milk, and um, Vedic culture just as it always has been. Um, Temples centrally situated. Everybody goes to worship the deity, um, usually twice a day. Um, Particularly in South India, every day, morning and evening, everyone goes to the temple. Huge crowds of people go to the temple. Um, anyway, what the culture, is all it all revolves around the worship of the local deities. It's everything is just very Krishna conscious. In some places, you have other deities. One of the biggest temples in South India and very famous is the Meenakshi temple. It's a temple of Parvati. Um, but it's huge. It covers 15 acres. The Gopuram is, I think, 17 stories high, or some such thing. Um, Within the temple, there are many, many altars. There are various deities of Lord Shiva, deities of Parvati, and many other personalities. Extraordinary. Everything about it is extraordinary. It's everyone should experience that at least once in your life. Just to see the architecture is an extraordinary thing. To see actual, this is Meenakshi Temple is supposed to be 3,000 years old at least, and if you see what they did, everything is solid granite, and the the sculptures, everything is all the stone is covered in exquisite sculpture with incredible detail, incredibly fine detail. It's just amazing. You have to marvel at what was done. How did they do these things? What tools did they have that made it possible to do that? Today, we would have difficulty to try to do some of the things that they have done. Uh, so um, it's an extraordinary thing to experience. The temples, the people, the lifestyle, the architecture, uh, everything is just remarkable. I'm going off on a wild tangent here, but Das Supreme, it got me going. You know, I revived some of my memory of my experiences.
Mm.
Those things impressed me deeply and just unforgettable. Very, very
Speaking of
good people.
memory, well,
Oh
I'm so
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Speaking of memory, and perhaps Jagannath Pandit remember this, and I do remember Mother Chintamani and myself speaking about this. In '96, when we visited India for Srila Prabhupada's centennial, uh, the last few days we went to and visited the Banka Bihari temple. And I tell you, when you walk into that temple, at least at that time, it was like going back in time. It was as if even the people looked like they were from a different time period or different era. It was as if the people that we were looking at were almost like behind a veil. It was a very, very mystical experience. So when you talk about, special temples and the special people in Vrindavan, definitely, if you get a chance, visit the Banka Bihari temple because if it's possible to have or to be, to experience something so mystical in such a material atmosphere, then Banka Bihari was it. I don't know, Jagannath Pandit, do you remember that experience? If he's there. Hmm, I'm not sure what happened to him.
I remember that,
Anyway,
uh,
pardon?
but I do remember that experience, and
Yeah.
I think you had a deeper experience than I did.
Hmm. And your wife experienced that as well. We discussed it afterwards, It was just, yeah, I don't know. That's the only word I can come up with. It was mystical, it was magical. Um, I never forgot that and still remember that experience. I don't know if your wife is available to comment, but I do remember we shared the same feeling.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences in India. Thank you, Tarka Prabhu, um, for sharing how, yeah, India is a special place. So the question I posed to Dasya Prem Prabhu before the class ended, well, before the conch blew, which he didn't have time to answer, was seeing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest teacher in all of existence, one could accuse him of this statement that he's making, that he's making a political statement, that he's singling out people from a specific place. And because he's citing a specific place, they have that material designation. And we've also observed some unfortunate persons who basically politicize this duty, this dharmic duty that if you're born in India, then you actually have this duty to perform this work. So somebody could make that accusation that Mahaprabhu, the teacher of the greatest subject matter, which is pure love of God, is making a material political statement. How would you handle that, Prabhu?
Well, of course, I don't accept the premise that Lord Chaitanya was in any way political. One might perceive it that way, but it's simply a statement of fact that those who are born in India are special, and they have a special responsibility. They have a greater responsibility than others because they have a unique opportunity that is not available to just anyone anywhere in the world. Those who are born in India have a special opportunity. And so Lord Chaitanya's effort was to remind those who are born in India that you have a special opportunity. You are specially blessed. It is not an ordinary thing to take birth in India, and so you should take full advantage of the special facilities that you have available there and become yourself Krishna conscious, and then propagate Krishna consciousness among others. I don't know how else he could convey that message of responsibility. And if someone wants to perceive it as political, they're going to do that because we all have independent free will, and we can formulate our own opinions. But of course, Lord Chaitanya's statement was not a political statement. It was just a simple statement of fact. You have a responsibility, just as anyone who accepts human birth has a special responsibility. Um, um, but those who have the benefit of a human birth and born in India, they especially have a very important responsibility. It's not an ordinary thing. Srila Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is in their blood, partly because India is sacred ground. It has an effect on people's consciousness, but more importantly, you have to have had some background in pious life, in Krishna conscious life, or at least pious life, in order to take birth in Bharata Bhumi. It's not available to just anyone. So Lord Chaitanya's effort was to try to revive the consciousness of those born in Bharata Bhumi and imbibe in them the sense of duty that they should feel. They are specially blessed. They should not be miserly. They should share what they have received. Anyway, is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I really appreciate that answer. Yeah.
Did you have something more? Because I had something, but go ahead.
Well, I was just about to say that I need to go, but if the devotees would like to stay online, if you'd like to continue the discussion, by all means, feel free. There's enough real estate and audio estate on the Zoom stream.
I think everyone has things to do. It's 8:30. We should wrap it up.
Well,
I should say though that breaking fast this morning. What is the timing there? The Parana, the break fast time is very late today. It is what was it? I think 9:38 or something. That means that if you break fast prior to 9:38, you have you've broken the Ekadashi Vrata prematurely. Like eating grains on Ekadashi, very sinful. the same rules apply all morning until 9:38. You can't eat grains before 9:38. So just want to make sure everyone is aware of that, because sometimes some individuals are don't understand that fully. It's critical to understand that. Hey, there's a bunch of comments in the chat. What have we got there? Let's see. I don't see any questions. Okay, we should wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Really appreciate your contributions, and they're very informative about the holy place of India. And yes, we appreciate your association. We appreciate everybody here on this call. Thank you so much. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.